Hello summoners, welcome back to the channel, and in this video we are talking about Massacre. Now he has been in the game for a while. He was released back in 2018 and he's always been a pretty good damage output character. Like the incinerates, as long as the opponent is not immune, and even if they are immune he does some burst damage I think. But I love his animations and how his bat is ignited when you get the charges and stuff. But the thing is, the only problem is that first he doesn't really have any utility. The only real scenario where I would use him is probably against Do You Burn node, because he does have a lot of incinerates. So now I want to give you guys a basic idea of how he works now, because that way when we go over the changes later on in this video, I think you would be able to understand them better. Because this guy, not a lot of people have been playing him. I don't think a lot of people would know how he really works. So this way I think you should get a better idea of how this guy would look post buff. So when the fight starts, your basic goal should be to get your bat ignited, and the way to do that is to get 10 ignition charges. Now there are 3 ways to gain these charges. First is to hit the opponent's block, the second is to hit an incinerated opponent, although when the fight usually starts the opponent is not already incinerated, so this is very helpful later on in the fight when you go out of the ignition phase and you have to get it back. But initially you're better off hitting the opponent's block. Now there is a third way, and that is getting crits, but he doesn't really have any guaranteed crits or anything, so that's more like trying your luck. Maybe if you have 8 or 9 charges, then throw in a 5-hit combo, you probably get to 10. But once you are in this phase, you are going to stay there for a while. You are going to hit a lot of incinerates, and you can refresh your incinerate from the SP1. SP2, you ideally want to hit that while the opponent is blocking, and even after this buff, this is going to be pretty huge. And this kind of takes a little bit of practice again, but like right now you can see, because we had incinerates, getting to the ignition phase is much easier. So let's talk about the changes. So first of all, his crit rate is increasing a little bit from 837 to 900. Now again, because that is a way to gain charges, it is going to be helpful for sure, even though it is a very small change. So the second change is that whenever you hit the opponent and you would have incinerated them, but they are immune to incinerate or something, then you would do some energy damage instead. It is already his ability. The damage is being increased from 67.5% to 135%, so that is definitely going to be good change. But again, ideally you do want to use him against non-incinerate immune matchups. The third change is pretty big. The ignition charges duration is increasing from 12 to 20 seconds. And this is really helpful. So right now, as you can see, the opponent is under incinerate effect, and we could have gained a lot of charges pretty easily, but we have to bait a special attack, and now he doesn't have any incinerates left, so getting these charges is much harder. And here you're going to see we will get a little bit lucky with the crits, and heavy attacks is also a pretty decent way to play with him, because each heavy attack will place an incinerate, and it is like, it has a really long reach. But you can always go back to hitting the opponent's block and gaining charges that way, and now we are back to the ignition phase again. Now the other change is the fact that this ignited state is being increased from 12 seconds to 20 seconds. So between this and the ignition charges duration increasing, his damage output will go up a lot. Moving on, there is a Disorient Debuff on the SP1, and its duration will be increasing a little bit. And when you use the SP2 while you are ignited, the opponent will also have 50% block penetration, and that is pretty good because you're already doing a lot of damage. So basically what you want to do is get to 2 bars of power, get the opponent blocking, and use your SP2. Again, I have not done this in this particular fight here, but then you also gain a fury, and the damage of that fury is also being increased from 867% to 1036. This is going to be huge. Like, he is going to hit so hard when you launch that SP2 into the opponent's block while you are ignited. And then there is a miss after the SP2, which is being raised from 0.75 seconds to 1 second. Not a big change. His Awakenability is also being changed a little bit, and this is kind of interesting. So earlier you used to get some bonuses of hitting the opponent when they didn't have any debuffs, and now you like the description has changed from no debuffs to no incinerate. So let's say if someone plays with suicide masteries, then that also counts as debuff, but now because it is incinerate, you will still get the bonuses. And it's nothing too big, you get some additional power from hitting the opponent, and you also get some higher critical rating. The critical rating is also being increased now. It is all based on the signature level of Massacre, but overall I would say like he doesn't really need to be awakened at all. Even unawakened, he is still fine and capable of doing what he does, and that is melt away the opponent, and that is all for the buffs. So overall I think it's not that much. His damage, like, it would be easier to maintain. It will be higher for sure because the duration of the ignited phase is being increased, but overall like he doesn't really get any utility, and that is the only thing I think he was lacking. So I am interested to see what people think of this buff and whether like he gets a bump in tier list and stuff like that. I don't he might make it to top 10 skill, but mostly because skill class is already pretty weak. I don't think this buff would make him would make people take this guy to rank 3 as a 6 star, and compared to the recent buffs in the skill class Kingpin and Moleman, I don't think he is going to be as good, as useful. Again, damage output wise he has always been solid, and he will just become even better, probably top 3 top 4 skill DPS. But yeah, that is kind of going to do it for this one. Do let me know which buff are you most excited about personally. If I have to place them in order, I would say Civil Warrior, then Angela, then probably Hood, then Massacre. Although Hood, the fact that they are taking away the Hex seal, or the basically nullify thing on the SP2, kind of sucks. But anyways, the fight is over. That is going to do it for this one. Thanks for watching. Have a nice day. Subscribe to the channel for more content. Like this video, share with your alliance, and stay safe. Bye bye. Have a good one.